Welcome back everyone to the channel. My name is Garrett. Today I am bringing you a review for Don't Worry Darling. I am still getting over a bout of strep throat, so that is why I sound so congested and probably so weird right now. I will have to see how this sounds editing, but otherwise this is what today's video will sound like. I'm gonna read you the IMDb description of Don't Worry Darling because I don't know how to describe this movie, but this will do okay. A 1950s housewife living with her husband in a utopian experimental community begins to worry that his glamorous company could be hiding disturbing secrets. So Don't Worry Darling is Olivia Wilde's new movie. She directed this one. It stars Florence, Pugh, Harry Styles, a bunch of other people. The cast is pretty stacked in this movie. If only that meant it were good, because it's not very good. My issue is I can't tell if I liked this movie or disliked this movie. I'm very split in the middle. We're gonna start with the positives. I think some of this movie is shot really well. There are some sequences that I enjoy a lot. The third act is shot really well. The first act has some really wonky, like, circular motion stuff that just gave me a headache watching it, and I didn't enjoy that aspect of the filmmaking process. Florence Pugh, as always, is fantastic. She is wonderful. I love her in Midsommar. I love her as Yelena in Black Widow and Hawkeye. She is just one of my favorite actresses right now. So even if the script was badly written, she displays the emotion and charisma enough for these words to matter. Harry Styles also does a really good job. I think he gets a lot of flack for being a musician first and then getting into acting, but if you've seen Dunkirk, he's great in Dunkirk. I wouldn't say he's in Eternals enough for me to decide if he's good in that movie or not. And I think the production design of this movie is really good. I think the 1950s aesthetic is hit really well. I love all the costumes. I like the hairstyle. I really love what they do with Florence Pugh's hair in this movie, like how it's styled. I know that's weird to say. I don't really notice those things that much, but I was like, oh, I kind of like this look they have her in right now. And that's the good I found in this movie. I think this movie is heavy-handed in its themes. I think it is silly when it's trying to be so serious. I'm not gonna spoil anything because I do want you to enjoy this movie. This movie is the one I feel like I need to talk about spoilers in. The writing is pretty awful. There's an entire Chris Pine monologue that he gives in the first act where he's just rambling on, and I don't think any of the sentences he says make sense. On their own, a sentence would make sense in his monologue, but then they squish it all together and there's no cohesiveness. He's just saying words to say words. Whether that's intentional or not, I was bored. I didn't care for it. It was bad. What happens in the third act is really frustrating. I think 2 hours and 3 minutes, including credits, is way too long for this movie. Like, I was like, okay, when are we getting to the end? We've been here a long time. I'm bored. What this movie is going for could have just been a Black Mirror episode. You know, an hour, 20 minutes at most. Condense it, shorten it down a lot, and I think the pacing would have been better. There's so much meandering that Florence Pugh does. There's all these like horror stuff or thrilling stuff that they make the character go through, but it's not real. Like, and it's not a spoiler, you watch it and then she'll like pop out of like whatever trance she was in, and then the stuff we just saw was not real stuff. And the movie doesn't explain why those things were happening. It's not like someone was doing those things to her. And its themes, I think Olivia Wilde and the writer don't know what the art of subtlety is. They really force feed you its themes of marriage and what men perceive marriage to mean and what men want in a marriage. It's just really overdone and very annoying in this movie. Like, it's like Raya and the Last Dragon is my comparison to this with its theming. Raya was so heavy-handed in trust and you needing to build trust with people. Almost every scene maybe had the word trust in it, and it was annoying. Like, It's a children's movie. I think children are smart enough that they'll learn what trust is. And in this movie, I think that they just found an idea that they wanted to push so much and thought that, oh, this is a good idea. It wasn't a very good idea. Nothing in this movie, I think, is Olivia Wilde's fault. I think it is the writing specifically. The choices that were made for this movie don't make sense. And that's not Olivia Wilde. She doesn't even have a writing credit on this movie, so I'm not gonna put that on her. I think the camera is held pretty okay. There's an action scene I think she does really well. I think she directs her actors for the most part okay. There's a clear path that she was wanting to do with her direction. I don't think this movie is her fault. I'm not gonna say it's her fault. All this drama that's surrounded this movie, I don't know what's going on with it. I'm not paying attention to it. I don't really care about Hollywood drama. I'm here for the movie. Would I recommend Don't Worry Darling? I think so. I think you should go watch it just to view another movie. You know, people worked in this, you should give it money. It's an original-ish movie. I think in the end, I'm gonna give Don't Worry Darling a 6 out of 10. It's nothing I ever feel like I'm gonna need to rewatch again. I don't know if I'm ever gonna wanna own Don't Worry Darling unless I get to the same like fanboy sense I am with Anya Taylor-Joy for Florence Pugh. It's just nothing that I'm ever gonna think about. It's just gonna erase from my brain when I go see another movie later today. That is this video. I hope you liked it. Please give it a like if you did. Please comment below if you've seen Don't Worry Darling. What did you think about it? And I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye. Two things to close out this video. One, I rebranded the whole channel. It is now fully Grizzly Reviews. We have a new logo, new thing at the top. That's all temporary, I think, until I can have the money to commission art specifically for this channel, because I really want to make it something special, something a lot different than just like, you know, Canva stuff or an AI art, which is what the logo is. I use an AI art maker, and that's what that is. And two, this movie is WandaVision, but worse. That's my read.